Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday night class on inspiration and sharing. We always like to start off with giving, because how we give, that's how God will give to us. So please give generously so Hashem can give us generously. In the chat box, I'm going to be putting names for Tehillim. And can everyone do the same as well? And we're going to say Amen together. If you can copy this list, just give me one moment while I pull it up. There we go. Okay, this week's class is dedicated to a couple of people. I just wanted to share. I like to always do it in honor of my dear grandmother, Rifkadina Bas Yosef Yehuda. I hope you're proud. We are also doing this in honor of my dear neighbor who needs a refuah shalema, Razel Bas Adas. I hope Hashem gives a revealed miracle so we can have our dear neighbor and friend to many back with us in the way that she always is, fun and witty and cray and awesome. Razi Malabed, I really miss her, and we should hear only revealed good news now. Tonight's class is in memory of Mordechai Tzvi ben Yitzchak's 6th yahrzeit. And tonight we're going to have his wife share with us, Aliza Scheinfeld. She is a superwoman who's been through the ringer, who really, when life gives you lemons, you can either keep the lemons or make lemonade. And Aliza, when you see her down the street, you would never think that she has anything going on in her life other than happiness and joy and love, because that's the aura she gives off. And Hashem should bless you, and your husband's neshama should have the highest aliyah, and we should see him very, very soon with the coming of Mashiach. Without further ado, we're going to introduce to you Aliza Scheinfeld. The topic tonight is, so you think I'm Aliza's going to share with us a little bit more about why she chose the topic, and she's going to share with us her journey, where she's at, and really we feel very blessed to have you. So if you can unmute yourself.
I am unmuted.
And I just want to say that right now it's 8:06, and this doesn't usually happen, but because it usually happens by 8:30, 8:20, but 73 ladies are on now, and they say that an neshama comes down in this world just to do a favor for another, and they're for 70, 80 years. Some people are taken earlier because they finished our mission. So your husband is definitely involved in this class right now, and he's smiling from above. So yeah, take it away.
All right, here we go. Too late now. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Chaya, for asking me to speak. And it's really a farbrengen. And a farbrengen is a Hasidic gathering where people sit together and share thoughts and ideas and feelings. So we start a farbrengen with a little bit l'chaim. So l'chaim to my husband's neshama Mordechai Tzvi ben Yitzchak. And I'm sure he's sitting here right beside me and nudging me and telling me, don't say that, or don't say that. So here you go, Mati l'chaim.
Amen.
Yes, that was vodka, straight up, the best way. So a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Crown Heights my whole life. Never knew from any struggles. Our parents gave us the most beautiful upbringing and the most joyous, happy home. My father, for those who may remember him, Yitzchak Yaakov Simon, Jerry Simon, the funniest man on earth. And we just grew up in a home of laughter and good times. Our house was the party house. So from a very young age, we experienced a lot of joy. Usual high school, went to work, Got married when I was 20. My husband was 22. We have 8 beautiful children, 4 boys, 4 girls. 6 of them are now married, a bunch of grandchildren. Thank God, very, very blessed. At the time that he passed away, 4 of them were married. So since then, I've made 2 weddings without him physically being here, but I know that he was right beside me the whole time. So let me tell you a little bit about him. If anyone would ask what was our glue and what was the attraction, I could say that he was probably the most easygoing person on earth. He was always very, very happy. He's easy to talk to. Anyone who knows him, he was just the friendliest person. He could make conversation with a doorknob and get the doorknob to talk back with him because he just loved to talk and greet people and meet people and enjoy people's company. Someone asked me something during the Shiva to take something back with him. They were visiting from out of town, one of my relatives. And what could you tell me? Just one point, just something that I can take away. And we could say that there was a lot of stress in life, normal upbringing and normal raising your family and normal stresses of finances and things like that. He had a lot of stress, but the stress never stressed him. You would never know. The way you said about me that outwardly I look happy and all of that, you would never know that he had a moment's stress in his life because he just didn't let it get to him, and he never let it pull him down in any way at all. I have notes and I'm forgetting to look at them. Someone also said something very special about him during the Shiva, that when his name was mentioned, you couldn't think of a person. Sometimes you'll have a conversation about someone and say, oh, he was a this and he was a that and he was the other thing. My husband was a person that this is what I was told, that you couldn't say anything negative about him. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. He was just a kind, sweet person. Chaya, if you want to show the picture that I gave you, just so people could see who we're talking about.
Yes, we're going to pull it up. Give us a
gave you a
moment.
couple of pictures. So you can first show the picture of him and me together. And I gave you a third picture. Maybe you want to show that one too.
Excellent.
So just to show some of the good times we had. So Chaya is going to show you the first picture. And if it's the one I'm thinking of, we're dressed up for a wedding or something. There we go. I don't remember. This is a June wedding because that's a June wedding outfit. Must have been one of my nephew's weddings. And then just to show some of the fun we had in life, you could show the next picture. We always dressed up for Purim. About a month before, he would sit at the computer and he would look at costumes for couples, and we would find something that suited both of us. This is actually my absolute favorite one of all. And whoever doesn't know what this is, it's from the Wizard of Oz. He was the Scarecrow and I was Dorothy. And we even had a little doggy and the red shoes. You don't see that so well from the picture, but I did have the red shoes, which came in handy for the following year costume, which was Snow White, and he was a dwarf. So just really, really happy times. There was always jokes and laughter. We live in a small space. I have a 3-bedroom apartment, and Baruch Hashem, there are 8 children and 1 bathroom. And at some point, all of us were home and everyone is toilet trained. So that 1 bathroom made for some interesting experiences sometimes. And I think because we were living in a small space, my children had such respect for each other and the 2 inches of privacy that everybody could have. The kids grew up just so, so close and so, so loving. And my children are my rock and my support. And I wouldn't be where I am now if not for them and their love. I'll tell you a couple of other things about him. He loved to sing. He was a chazan. He loved to be the one to lead the davening. And he was asked once, why is it, sometimes in a shul, whoever's in charge of asking someone to go up and lead the davening, they call up this man and this man and this man, and nobody wants to go. Why don't they want to go? They don't want to be the one. They're embarrassed. My husband was never embarrassed, and he always said yes. And the reason why he said yes is because he absolutely enjoyed his time standing over there at the front of the show with no distractions and nobody bothering him. If you're sitting at the table, people can talk to you, people can bother you, people can ask you questions. And if he was standing at the front of the show and leading the services, then nobody could bother him. It was just him and God. And he had the most beautiful voice. And he liked to sing. He sang backup on a couple of recordings. And someone who organized one of those recordings, his name is Yossi Goldstein, and he did an a cappella of Chabad Negonim. And he came and he told me, I feel so bad for all the hours that I took your husband away from you to come and sing and practice. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm going to have his voice forever. And to this day, when I hear his songs, depending on my mood, not always so excited to hear the song. So sometimes I shut it, but most of the time I listen because he had the sweetest voice. We struggled a little bit financially. Some poor decisions left us sometimes in not such a great place, but he never let it stop him from providing us what we needed and what we wanted and doing fun things. And going out to eat was the most favorite thing in life. If I would pack him a lunch for work and then call him in early afternoon and say, don't eat your lunch yet, let's go out. Sure, no problem, where are we meeting? And a good meal, a good pie of pizza. Ma, you're listening? My husband and my mother were once going to have a competition to see who could eat the most pizza in one sitting. And I joked around that he would bleed mozzarella cheese and tomato sauce because of how much he loved his pizza. He overcame tragedies in his life. He lost his parents and his sister about 19 years ago in a very tragic accident. And how do you move on from that? How do you move on from something like that? And he said, it gives their neshamas joy to see us living our lives and doing all the fun things that we always did with them. So we have to continue, and they don't want to see us sad. And that carried forth into other things. I'll talk a little bit now about what happened when he passed away. It's not a great big long story. It was very sudden. It was very quick. It was a big shock. It was a normal Thursday evening, and I was preparing Shabbos. It was the first week after the clocks changed, and Shabbos came in very early. So I was doing a lot of things for Shabbos, and I was up late till about 11:30, and we had both just gone to sleep. And then I suddenly heard funny noises. He didn't look right. I called Hatzalah, and it was all very, very quick. It was a very big shock. And I think when someone has an illness, there's some kind of sense that you can make out of it. It doesn't make sense. Why does Hashem have to give someone a terrible illness? And why does someone have to suffer? And the family has to suffer going back and forth to hospital. And you heard a few weeks ago, my good friend Toby talking about her experience when her husband passed away. Our husbands actually passed away 3 weeks apart from each other. It was the same year. And gone is gone, and he's not here. And the shock factor is hard to deal with. But when someone is sick, you can somehow, there's a reason. He was sick, and Hashem couldn't save him for whatever reason, and he passed away. And when something happens so suddenly, years will pass, and there's just no sense to be made of it. So how do we get over something like that? So I have to say, like I said before, family support, my sisters, my dear brothers-in-law, my mother is my rock. My father at the time, my mother was caring for him. He was bedbound at home with Alzheimer's, and she was also, in spite of the challenges that she was going through, was a great support at that time and continues to be a tremendous support in my life. I'm not sure if I would say this is a good thing. I don't know how I would have handled a long drawn out illness. And when someone asks, well, how did he pass away? I say he died from a kiss. That Hashem just said, okay, Mati, it's time to go. And I'd like to think that he didn't suffer, and it gives me some comfort that it was just fast and we didn't have that situation to deal with. And my heart goes out to anyone who is dealing with the long illness and did deal with the long illness, because that is very, very painful. people came to be Menachem Avot in our small, excuse me, I must take a drink. In our small home, I think, I don't know, thousands. There were a lot of people. Excuse me. There were other widows that came in. Sorry, I'm coming off the cold. And I would see them and I would say, oh my God, there's another one. Oh my God, there's another one. How many people like me are out there in the world? Very sorry.
Don't be sorry. So I just want to tell you that everything that Aliza so far is saying about her husband is so true. He was, and I don't like to say was, because it's so strange that he's not here with us anymore, because he was such a big part of the Crown Heights community, and we'd see him walking down the street, and this is how I would describe him: jolly. So I see some of his daughters on tonight, and you should always feel his jolliness and his love to you. And I'm just sending you guys love. And as soon as Aliza's ready, she can unmute herself.
I think I'm back. It's just a coughing attack. I'm not crying. So like I said, I'm sorry. It's got to take a second.
Take your time. In the meantime, Esty, if you don't mind to just pull up the picture that I sent you. We're going to take a short break of Mati, Aliza's husband, with the Rebbe shortly. So just if you don't mind to pinch out everybody, you'll see what he looked like. This is how I remember him. And right on his side, there's a man, and then the Rebbe is standing right there, and he's reading from a Torah, which is very special. Not so many people got this picture, and it's incredible.
All right. I think I'm good now.
Okay.
It's just a coughing attack. Nechama, don't call Hatzal, okay?
Okay.
So I'll tell you what was happening on that day. I'm sorry, I don't want to waste time, so I'm going to keep going. It'll clear up. Like I said, I'm coming off the gold. So on this day, he had an aliyah. He was naming my daughter Chani. So Chana is actually the Rebbe's mother, and it was a big honor that he was able to get the aliyah on that day. That was the day after I gave birth.
Aliza, let me ask you this. Do you want us to show a video that we're going to show at the end now, just for a moment? And then because something very special is coming up, and I don't want to miss it. We were going to start it in the beginning. We'll give you like 3 minutes, and you can turn off your screen and come back as soon as the video is on. Okay. So Esty, I'm just going to share a couple of words with you all right now about what's coming up on the 11th of Cheshvan. We are all really lucky that we're going to be hearing from Aliza, and this is the first time that she's speaking publicly, and we're so grateful and thankful to her for sharing such an important message with us tonight that we all need to hear. And it's hard, and it's raw, and it was just Mati's Mordechai Tzvi ben Yitzchak's his yahrzeit, and his neshama should have the highest aliyah. And right now on this class, we have 113 ladies. So if everyone can please pledge a mitzvah for his memory, because what we do down here for someone's neshama helps them upstairs, because they can't do mitzvahs anymore, but we can do the mitzvahs for them, but they get the merits up there. So very soon on the 11th of Cheshvan is Rachel Imenu's yahrzeit, and Rachel is our mother. One of the I wrote some notes, so just don't mind me. I'm going to look down for a moment. And how do I compare Rachel Imenu, the mother of us all, to Aliza? Aliza is a mother who's been through so much, and same with Rachel Imenu. She's been through so much, and she was buried along the road, and not with the others that she was, with her family, because she said she's gonna, when the Jews leave exile, she's gonna be there, that we can pray, go into exile, into Gullus, which we are in now, which we so desperately need Mashiach. When we need, she is right there, that she can, like a mother is, a Yiddish mama who cares so much and worries. She worries about us all. And she is there for us, that she could beseech on our behalf to beg Hashem for anything that we need. So we go to her, we cry to her, and in return, she cries for us. And we've heard so many amazing miracle stories about Rachel Imenu, how she really davens, and it's something that is just so meaningful to me and to many of us. I mean, all of us. She's our mother, that we have someone to go to daven. That every time I go to Israel, I always make sure that that's one of the places I go, even if I can't go to other holy resting place. It's really important for me to go to Rachel Imenu. She sacrificed so much, and she died so young. And not only did she sacrifice that, she sacrificed it for us, that we can have her in our life always. So we're gonna share with you a video. So please stay. We're gonna pinch it out. We're gonna share with you a video now of a song.
Yes, our mother Rachel, to cry for us again. A heart-rending song composed by the one and only A.B. Rottenberg. Before Shalema, A.B., we wish you were here. With the rising sun on her wedding day, she raised her eyes to the heavens, and she thanked Hashem for the man of truth, with whom she would build a nation. But when nightfall came, destiny betrayed the veil, concealing another. Yet a sister's shame, not her shattered dreams, took hold of her heart and her senses. Mama Rachel, cry for us again. Won't you shed a tear for your dear children? If you raise your sweet voice, now is then the day will come. Mama Rachel, cry for us again. Won't you shed a tear for your dear children? בזכותך ושובונים לגבולם.
Thank you for sharing. Mama Rachel, begging you, please, to cry for all of us and beg for Mashiach, so we don't have to cry no longer, and we should just be so happy, not just on the outside, but on the inside. And we're gonna give it back to Aliza. If you could unmute yourself.
I am unmuted again. I'm really sorry, everybody. I'm just coming off a cold, and I was afraid that that would happen. So I took a candy. I'm fine.
Excellent.
So the part I was up to is that all these different people, all these other widows were coming in to be Menachem Avil, and it was really hard for me, like another one. And what a big club I've just joined. And a friend that came also has lost her husband a few years back, and she said, you'll see one day you're going to put on makeup, you're going to go to parties, and you're going to be fine, and you're going to live, and you're going to function. And I wasn't ready to hear that, because my world just crashed around me. What are you telling me, that I'm going to put on makeup? Who cares about lipstick? My husband died, leave me alone. But she knew, she had been in my place, and she knew what that felt like. So she was coming from a place of experience, not necessarily was I ready to hear that, but she meant it in a good way. And it's a few years later now, and yes, I do wear lipstick, and I do go to parties, and I do smile, and I do walk down the street looking like a normal person. I also told people who came to be Menachem Avil, like after the first couple of days, that people came to comfort. It was just like a crazy house. And I would tell people that when they see me in the street, don't look at me and say, oh, how are you? How are you doing? I don't need that. Just say hello to me in your regular way, and I'll say hello back to you. People feed off your energy. And if you show a smile, I don't know where the smile comes from sometimes, because someone asked me, oh, how are you smiling? So what's the choice? So this thing happened. What's the choice? What am I going to do with this situation now? Because it's so much easier to just stay home and stay under your covers and eat too much and drink too much and be sad and be depressed. And that's not what we're meant to do. And that's not what Hashem wants of us. And that's not what my husband wants from me. He wants to see that we're all living and taking the example that he showed us when he experienced tragedy in his life. Community support is unbelievable. The people who came out, the people who continue to help us out in their quiet ways. It's very, very comforting. When I was making my second wedding after he was gone, was my daughter's wedding, someone came to the house, some random individual, and handed me an envelope. And that envelope went straight to my daughter's wedding gown. I have no idea to this day who shared such kindness with me, but there are a lot of kind people in the world. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a tragedy to find out about all these kind people. But it just shows how people really care and people really love us. So talking about joy for just a minute, my name actually means joy. Aliza doesn't just mean joy, it's an exalted, it's a very high level of joy. And you can find the word Aliza in Tehillim and in different parts of davening and Psalms where it talks about joy. My actual given name, and this is a story for another time, and if you want to know more about it, you can message me or call me. Chaya will give you a number and I'll tell you the story about it. But my given name at the Torah, when my father named me, is Freda Shifra. And Freda is Yiddish for happiness and joy. And Shifra is another name. If you remember the story from Chumash, from the Bible, where Moshe Rabbeinu's mother and sister, their names were actually Miriam and Yocheved, but in Rashi, they were called Shifra and Pua. And Shifra is another word of comforting and soothing. And that's what they were called then, because they were midwives and they would take care of the babies. And that was, that's also part of my name. So it fits with my personality. I'm a happy person by nature. So it's hard for me just to squash my natural abilities to force a smile sometimes. Yeah, we all have to force a smile sometimes. We certainly do. We're not always in the mood, but sometimes we just have to put ourselves in the mood. So people see me in the street. Oh, you look so good. Well, how should I look? What do you want me to look like? Do you want me to be all sullen and sad and miserable? Because if you see me miserable, it's going to make you miserable. And then you're going to go tell my mother, you're going to call my sister and say, oh, your sister looks awful. So yeah, we sometimes have to force it. You put on the lipstick and the earrings and fix your sheitel and you go out in the world. And sometimes you do have to force that smile. It doesn't come naturally. It's difficult, but you work on it and you can do it. So that's one of my survival tactics about having joy and surviving and overcoming any kind of hardship. Another thing is to daven, to pray, not necessarily picking up a siddur, a prayer book, or an actual book of Psalms. You can talk to Hashem in your own way, however you want. You can stand in front of the picture of the Rebbe and you can talk to the Rebbe. You can say anything you want in your own words, any time of the day. It doesn't have to be a structured prayer, but just making a connection. And if you're upset with Hashem, if you're upset with God, then why would you ignore the person that you're upset with? If you had an argument with someone, don't you want to talk it out and hash it out and settle the argument? So if you're not too happy with God, let him know you're not happy. You need him as much as he needs you. We're here on this earth and we're doing Hashem's work. And if we have a gripe, then we need to discuss it. So if you have an issue with Hashem, and I certainly do have an issue, I try to daven every day and I try to say my Tehillim every day. And sometimes it comes from a place of truth that I'm open and I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I do have so much in my life to be grateful for all the joy that I do have now. But sometimes it gets to you. And if it gets to you, you can't ignore. You have to maintain that connection and go back and talk to that person and talk to Hashem, because Hashem ultimately is the one that will be able to help you. My husband always said that everything is from Hashem and it's all in Hashem's plan. Where he used to work, he was a salesman. He sold major appliances, and all the different salesmen had turns. Whoever would walk in the door, every one of the salesmen had a turn of who would take the next customer that walked in. And it once happened that he started with a customer, someone took over the customer on a different day, and that salesman ended up taking the sale. My husband was not angry, he was not upset, because he said that parnasa, sustenance, our livelihood, comes from Hashem. Everything is planned out to the penny. So I didn't get that sale, I'll get another one. It wasn't my money to have, it wasn't meant for me. So we don't understand. We don't understand Hashem's plan. We don't have to understand Hashem's plan. It's not up to us to understand. And if we come to that level of faith and trust and know that everything is from Hashem, and it really is all good. On some level, it's good. We don't understand and we don't know why, but if we're able to work on ourselves and come to that level and find the joy. You might not think this is a joyous situation right now, but there is good and there is joy. We just have to look for it. And sometimes a little dark humor isn't so terrible either. After we sat Shiva, we were so giddy and we were making jokes with each other about the things that people would say when they came to comfort us. And we were just making jokes, and we were saying how people would stand there and not say goodbye, and you're sitting in these low chairs and looking up at the person like this, and your neck hurts and they're just not leaving. Go already, say your words of comfort and leave, my neck hurts. So a little dark humor is helpful to find the funny in those situations. Also during the Shiva, I was talking to my children. We took a break. We threw everybody out and we were talking about what was going to be written on the Matseva, which is the headstone. And one of my daughters said, why are we not saying anything about pizza? We have to say something about pizza because he loved pizza so much. Where can we write pizza on the headstone? So we all laughed and we cracked up because it really is funny to talk about pizza at such a time. Like I said earlier, another thing is it gives great joy to the neshama when we're happy. And on the same token, on the other side, it gives the neshama, it gives the soul, it makes them sad. It makes the soul sad, if we can say that about a soul, when they see that we're unhappy. So we have to try really, really hard to do the things that we love to do and continue living in the most positive way. Rabbi Schusterman is coming out with a book very soon, and I read a little snippet of it. So he also struggled in life, and a terrible tragedy happened to him. And if I'm not remembering this correctly, then someone who read the same article as me will remember it. So he says, so this thing happened. So this horrible calamity happened, but what am I going to do next? So we have that choice. We have that choice to do nothing and just let the grief overcome us and keep us from functioning in life. Or we take that energy that we have and the abilities that Hashem has given us and flip the coin and turn the page and try to take it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time. Baby steps. We'll just have baby steps and we'll really get there. Another thing that brings joy is helping someone else. Talking on this class right now, I was so nervous before and feeling so edgy and, well, what did I do this for? And who needs to hear my story? Who needs to know what's going on in my head? But it's very good to help someone else, whether they're in the same situation as you or in a different situation as you. I enjoy helping people. I was in therapy a little bit, believe it or not. And the therapist would say, well, you should do something for yourself. I would go to her and I would tell her about my responsibilities, helping my mother with my father who was not well, and helping my children, and the babies are born, and we go help this one and help that one. And she said, well, what about you? I said, well, I love to volunteer and I do things in the community. She said, no, what about doing something for yourself? I said, you don't understand. I am happy when I am doing something for someone else. It gives me great joy. Part of the reward that Hashem gives you for doing a mitzvah is that wonderful, good feeling that you get when you help somebody. And by helping someone else, it lifts you up also. So sometimes find yourself in a rut, just find something you can do. Call a friend, go out in the street, go see somebody, go visit someone who you haven't seen in a long time. Find out about Bikur Cholim, which is visiting the sick. If you can go to a nursing home, bring a smile to someone's face. There's a lot of causes in the neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Find out about things that you can get involved in and volunteering. And it really does bring a tremendous source of happiness and comfort. And you come back from that activity, whatever it was that you did, and you really feel uplifted, and it really gives you a boost to continue. Another thing I heard from someone once, from a friend who's also in my little club. She said she was walking on the boardwalk, she was feeling sad, and she was looking out at the ocean, and she was seeing the dolphins jumping, and then suddenly she started hearing a voice in her head. And you know what the voice said? The voice said, go get a manicure. The voice said, go get a massage, go do something for yourself and make yourself feel good. Massages are not cheap, manicures are not cheap, but I have an idea for you. Take a jar, take a container, take a cup, and write on it, my treat. And every time you're able to lift yourself out of the mood and do something positive, put $1 in the jar, put 50 cents in the jar, and save that up for yourself for your treat, whatever it may be, because a little self-care goes a long way. And we're really, really never, ever alone. Hashem is our partner, and Hashem is at our side, holding our hand, taking us through everything, every obstacle, everything that we need to overcome is right there. A lot of things came my way, paying bills, never paying bills. Keeping track of the finances, I kept track of how much I spent as I spent it, but I never took care of any of those things. Checking the mezuzahs, making different arrangements, making travel arrangements. I never took care of anything, taking care of our van registration. These are all grown-up jobs. And to this day, there's still things that, oh, this is not my responsibility. I don't want to do this. I don't know how. I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to make new insurance policies. This is not my job. Well, it's my job. And you learn. And if you don't know what you're doing, you ask questions and you get people to help you and you figure things out. So it's a new plan. It's a new direction. Am I sad? Yes. Am I angry? Yes. Do I miss him terribly? Yes. But you're really, really never alone. I have an amazing, amazing support system. When I bench licht each week and light my Shabbos candles and I daven to Hashem and I say, just please, Hashem, first of all, thank you for the great week that I had and give me strength for another week to come. It works out that this week, the yard site, it's on Friday and it's in Parshas Lech Lecha. So there's just a little point about Parshas Lech Lecha that gives a very, very practical message to all of us that we can take along. So the pasuk says, Lech Lecha me'artzecha, go out from your land, from umimoladetecha, from your birthplace, umibeis avicha, from your father's home, el haaretz asher areka, to the land that I will show you. So it's explained that Lech Lecha means go for yourself, but it also means go to yourself. And you are a child. Who are you? Who's yourself? You are a child of Avraham Avinu, and we all are. We're all sisters and brothers. We're all interconnected. We all come from the same place. So how do we do this Lech Lecha? How do we do this going out? So we follow the words of the pasuk. So me'artzecha, from your land, is leaving your worldly and physical desires. So everything, just leave it by the wayside. And it was certain things that you had, they were there. Now we have to move forward. Umimaladetecha means from your birthplace, means not doing things by rote, not doing things just because we were taught them at home, but to do things with our heart and with our soul, and because we mean them and because they're important to us. The next thing is umibeis avicha. So in Chassidus, Midei Savicha is from your father's home. In Chassidus, wisdom is connected to father. So the wisdom that we're talking about here is the Yetzer Hara, our evil inclination, that voice inside us that says, you don't have to give tzedakah. You don't have to daven today. You don't have to be nice to someone. You don't have to say nice things. So the habits, I skipped something from your birthplace. Okay, we said that. Midei Savicha. The Yetzer Hara just gives us trouble. And also not to be a wise guy about the mitzvahs and rationalize why I should or shouldn't do something. El ha'aretz asher har'eka is the land that I will show you. And it's in first person. Hashem is talking here. So the land that I'm going to take you, the land of ultimate spirituality. So that's me, Hashem, at our side, holding our hands, just taking us along and taking us forward. And we just need his strength with us all the time. Keep the lines to Hashem of communication open. And through that, you're able to find the joy and have the strength to move on and overcome any of life's challenges. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing, Aliza. I always like to ask this. So 126 ladies now on. 26 is Hashem's name.
Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, the numerical value.
Now 127 over the top. But
Oh, wow.
Aliza, what was your husband's favorite mitzvah?
So it's a couple of things, actually. So first of all, we could say davening. Like I said before, he loved davening, he loved singing. So it says on the tombstone, on the matzeva, it says that he served Hashem with his voice through being a chazan. And tzedakah, he gave a lot of tzedakah, some that I knew about and some that I didn't know about.
I love that. He's my kind of guy. He's such a special, amazing man. Aliza, if you have the recording that you can send me of his voice and you're okay with me sharing, it's okay. If
I
not,
have to think if I don't have it handy. It's not something that I could give you right now.
okay, because Hashem doesn't just give anyone a special voice, and he used it, and he was just such a special guy. So I'm going to ask everyone before we conclude with a video, and if anyone has any questions, please send me a message in the inbox. But I just would like to just say that you mentioned that at candlelighting, you pray to Hashem. So I'm asking everyone that this week is a very special Shabbos. It's the yahrzeit also of our mother, Rachel Imenu. If everyone could light candles and beg, okay, beg. And if you know someone that doesn't light Shabbat candles, everyone from the age of 3 has a mitzvah of lighting Shabbos candles. And when we light candles, it brings in more light into the world. And it's protection, not just for our families and not just light for ourselves, but light for everyone. And right now we need so much light in the world. We live in a dark place, but so easy to bring in more light. Just turn on the light switch and a candle just brightens everything up. So I'm going to ask everybody if they could pledge to, number one, put lipstick on. I did before the class. And like Aliza, she walks down the street and she's a pretty cool chick, you know? So put lipstick on, smile more at others. It's contagious, and be the reason someone should smile today. Also, like Aliza said to her therapist, she said, do more for yourself. Of course, do more for yourself, but also do for others, because it will bring a lot of joy in your life. So volunteer, take on something that you don't usually do, go out of your comfort zone, lech lecha, go out. There's many ways how to go out of your comfort zone, and we all know what it is. So tap into that. And also, in honor of Mati, we always like to start off the class with giving, because how we give, that's how God's going to give to us. And they say when we go at 120 or sometimes too young, like Mati, he went with all his merits, and his merits were his mitzvos, and he had so many. I mean, when you close your eyes, for those that knew Mati, all you do is have a smile on your face, because he was the kindest, nicest, most amazing, sweetest man. And this is someone that wasn't even my family. I'm not related to him, but he just always had a smile for me. He was always so kind and generous and sweet and said good Shabbos. So let's learn from him tonight and do those kind of things, because it's free to be nice. It's free to, say a nice compliment to someone, and we can change someone's day. And I'm sure, like Aliza said, when those of you, like someone showed up at her door and mentioned to us that gave an envelope, we can all do little things like that in our lives to someone that may need something. And it could be the smallest thing, but what's small to us is huge to somebody else, which is incredible. And I just want to say thank you, Aliza, for sharing today. It wasn't easy for you to share. It's hard. And Hashem should really send you comfort, and the real comfort, not just you. I mean, he should send you, but I know you're okay with me sharing this with others, all the widows out there. He should send comfort to them, and all the people out there that are waiting for their better half. He should send comfort to them, and all the people that are waiting for children. He should send comfort to them, and tap into our dear mother Rachel Imenu's yahrzeit and beg her to ask for us. She doesn't let us down. A mother never lets us down. A mother never says no. I know that I have a special mother who I cherish and love very dearly, and we all have a mother, and we all have, even if they're not physically here with us, they are here with us in a different form for some of us. And everyone should just merit to see our loved ones again, because we deserve it. We're such an amazing nation, and we do so much for each other, and Mashiach should just come. It's a year of Hakel. Hakel is gatherings, and this is a gathering that we're having for bring-in. We have many ladies on here, and I hope tonight you're inspired. And if you could either write on the chat or privately message me a mitzvah that you will be taking on for Aliza to put a smile on her face, because it will bring her so much joy if you do something in memory of Mordechai Tzvi Ben Yitzchak's yahrzeit, which is this coming Friday. And just, it could
Say
be
one more thing.
Sure.
I'll say one more thing. Listen, this is what I always write something either on Facebook or something, and I share about his yahrzeit, just for everybody to remember him and do a mitzvah in his memory. And I also write at the same thing, have a good l'chaim, listen to some good Jewish music, and eat a good meal, and have him in mind when you do that.
I think we could all do that. L'chaim. I wish I had my l'chaim here, but I'll have one maybe a little later. But yeah, we should all just be happy, because when we serve Hashem with joy, that's how he wants us. There's no other way. We must be joyful. We don't get to choose what happens to us. We only get to choose our reaction. And like Aliza said, her husband didn't have the easiest package. He had a hard package, but he chose to walk around the street and be jolly and smile and make people smile. And he forgive people, like I would have been so upset if someone took this sale that I worked so hard on and they literally didn't give him the credit. And he said, no, it wasn't meant for me. No one could take away what's yours. Remember that, guys. No one could take away what's yours. And what's his is what's Mati has with him is all his merits. And they say that when you do merits down here, you take it up there and you go straight into Gan Eden. So I'm so sure of it. I'm 100% sure of it that Aliza, your husband's in Gan Eden, but we need to see him again. So he should advocate and yell and scream and make his noise and sing for us, and he should come back with Mashiach, which the Lubavitcher Rebbe promised that is coming in our generation. So it's coming soon. So when he comes, we can either do it happily. We can say we did it happily or we weren't. I'm going to tell you a story. I went to a Shiva house, and like Aliza said, I don't like to stay too long. Really, it's not about us. When we're at a Shiva house, we should try to limit. I mean, just a suggestion, I think. Aliza, tell me if I'm right. Limit about not talking about ourselves, but rather be there for the person and know when it's time to go. And the person, it's not how long you're there. It's that you came and you showed up. And before I left, I said, in my own words, I said, Hashem should comfort you and send Mashiach. And there was someone there and he said, I'm not ready yet. I said, well, I am. So get ready, because, he was basically saying that he wants to still sin. And I was like, no, 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 you don't understand. When Mashiach comes, we are going to have everything at our fingertips, and you're not even going to like want to do the things that you did. And you're going to look back. I mean, I didn't say this to him, and you're going to say, I was so silly. Let's all do everything we can to bring Mashiach, and whatever it is, we know what it is. We know what we need to do. We know what we need to fix inside us. No one knows what's inside. We all look, we all have two eyes, we have a nose, we have a mouth, we have ears. No one knows like your wiring inside, only we do. So we should take our wiring and fix it and make it perfect and make it connect well, so we can finally merit to have Mashiach. And we should also just be happy for others around us and for, yeah. So that's my blessing to all of you. And I really appreciate everyone that joined tonight. We're going to conclude with a video. So
tell us the message you have for the world about Mashiach, the message you have for the whole world about the Mashiach.
She was printed in all the press of all the countries. The Mashiach is ready to come now. It is only from our part to do something additional in the realm of goodness and kindness.
So people should be doing goodness and kindness for him to come.
At least a little more than Mashiach will come immediately. That's what gives to charity, the double portion of charity.
Thank you, Rabbi. You're very kind. Thank you.
Double portion of kindness.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Double portion. Double portion.
wow, I love that video. We should all have our double portion of kindness, and we should give double portions of kindness. Giving is so easy. And don't forget to be the reason someone smiles today. And we'll see you next week. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Aliza, and sending love to your entire family. And if anyone wants to unmute themselves and share something, please do so now.
Thanks, Chaya. Thank you. I survived.
You are over the top amazing. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much for being so open and responsive with your story. And love, is very easily shown by your pictures and your energy, and it's still felt, the connection that you have with your husband, and knowing that was, to hear love sometimes without physically seeing it is a gift in itself. So thank you for sharing that love with us.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I just want you to know that I'm going to do my best to apply some of the advice you gave. It was really special, and I really appreciate it. And I just wish you the very best.
That's so beautiful. Please come again. Thank you, everyone. Good night.